So on the channel, I spend a long time. We spend a lot of time. A lot of our left allies have spent a lot of time debunking the Western narrative on this proxy war in Ukraine, and we spend on the channel. I am open about why I'm against this war. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about Putin. I am here to impose imperial power where it presents itself. I am here to oppose NATO, because NATO created and led to this conflict in the first place. The fact that they want to smuggle more arms and enrich weapon manufacturers and their NATO cronies, that is what this conflict is all about. This is why they want to get Sweden and Finland as NATO. This is why NATO literally had no mandate after the fall of the USSR. NATO has helped imperial powers maintain their white imperial power over Africa. They supplied material support for the colonial Portuguese and their colonies in Africa. So I'm telling you guys, as a black Marxist, I am unapologetically against NATO, as every single black Marxist, every single black, brown, or even socialist should be in this country, right? But that's how I explain this issue. That's why we cover the issue the way we do. The media has been lying to you guys from day one. Mm-hmm. And you guys want to know one of the things they do? They listen to the Eastern Ukrainian propagandists, who are the most notorious liars in the world, period. Over and over again, they get caught lying. Ukraine has been one of the most corrupt countries before this conflict, and that was widely reported on. They had the most public officials that was in the Panama Papers. They don't talk about that. Zelensky was in there as well, right? So what our media would do, they would take what Ukraine propaganda says, and then they will just repeat it as fact with no retraction whatsoever. So I'm you guys, CJ, you know I do my stories in order for a certain reason.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna share this one first. Do you guys remember the story that the mainstream media ran as fact? There was literally human rights trials that was discussed being had because of this. I watched corporate media, so I saw MSNBC report this as fact. I saw CNN report this as fact. They were saying Russians was raping children. And there was one specific account that was pushed out to dry sympathy towards the war, where they said Russian soldiers, they tied up this family and they raped like a 1-year-old boy to death. It's like, the only reason you will even believe this without hard evidence, I'm not saying stuff like this can't happen. Like war crimes has been documented by WikiLeaks, right, for example, with hard evidence. But the reason you guys believe this without any hard evidence is because of xenophobia that they programmed you to believe. They used to say the same propaganda about the Viet Cong in Vietnam. Every time they have a enemy they got to go against, they portray them as inhumane because they programmed you to believe it. You believe Russians are evil enough to just randomly rape a 1-year-old boy, and that's like a systematic order, and that there's something they installed. This has been long time war propaganda in doing this. So this was so absurd, and obviously, as soon as this was put out there, they immediately looked into it and found it false. Obviously, anyone with critical thinking, like, why Russia already had a PR program, so why would they make this like a systematic army thing? Let's go rape and pillage these people. That's how they present it. Oh, this is a Russian army. They want their people to go and rape Ukrainians. No, I'm dead serious. Look at the MSNBC coverage of this. I told you guys, I've been watching just so I can show you guys. Anyway, I'm prefacing the story too much. So, look at this. Ukraine official fired over handling of Russian sexual assault claims. Because I think she went too far. Because that claim was so bad. Like, people immediately started looking, who the Russian soldier who did this? Like, Russia immediately started looking into, like, nothing. So she went so far. So this is one of the stories that came out when everyone was like, okay, these people are fucking liars. So I don't think she was fired because they really were like, oh my God, she lied. No, she was just a dumb propagandist. So this
she didn't do it good. She didn't do it well. That's why, yeah. Now, that's why they're not gonna fire you for doing it good. You didn't do it well. That's the problem.
You guys know my right. You guys can have to take you guys one. I present the fact. That's my take. They not fired. They don't give a fuck that she lied. Dude, they just like, bro, you suck at this. We need to find someone who's better at this propaganda game than you are. Like Anthony Blinken, Dick Cheney, they are great at this propaganda shit. This is amateur hour, guys, believe it or not. So this is their statements. And they got killed or something because you can't have this dumbass out here just saying the quiet part out loud. So she was playing to a Ukrainian newspaper, so they gave her an interview after this. I've been talking about scary things in order to make sure that the decisions that Ukraine needs would be made. So maybe I went too far, but I was trying to achieve the goal of convincing the world to provide arms and put pressure on Russia. Guys, what have I said in the other 3 streams that got pulled? Knock on wood. Hopefully this one don't get streamed for me. Report on this.
Hopefully.
I told you guys, the Ukrainians has a vested interest in stoking this propaganda. Why do you think Zelensky is on a PR propaganda campaign? That's the most important part of the war for them, so they can heist the working class of the world and get weapons sent to them. How else can you politically get the political power and will to send 40 billion of our weapons to Ukraine? If you tug on their heartstrings and make them believe that Russians are animals and that Ukraine has a chance to win. I explained this concept so many times on this show. Check it out on Rumble, because most of them have been pulled, right? So
are they streamed live on Rumble, or you just upload them? You upload them to the Rumble?
We don't go live on Rumble because Rumble was like, I was setting that up, and then it was like, we charge $15 a month for you guys to go live. And
what?
Like, fuck you. Fuck you. Like, what are you talking about? What?
Maybe so later anyway,
later maybe we'll do replay that. Is always uploaded on Rumble afterwards. So that's how it works. All streams are all on Rumble. So CJ, before I continue, I went on for a while. Do you have anything you want to add before I move on?
No, you can move on. Go ahead.
So I'm showing you. So they are at it again. I am showing you guys this because do not trust the propagandists of Ukraine. You got this lady out in saying the quiet part out loud. The media, we are being lied to about this conflict because they want people to take a side so they can have the political will and political capital to send arms to Ukraine and fund this proxy war to expand NATO. Are we clear? That's why they are lying to you. They even lied about stuff like the Ghost of Kiev. As we debunked on the show, and I remember when I first commented on this, I'm like, anyone who believes this shit, you are a moron. Because the reports of the war, when it first came out on the ground, Russia immediately had air superiority, air dominance. They had a radar controls jam. They knocked out the communication. It was complete dominance from the very beginning, right? So the idea that there was this random Ukrainian pilot that is killing Russian soldiers left and right, it didn't make sense at face value. But the media knew that, and they ran the story as fact. Voss reported the story as fact. And then Ukraine admits Ghost of Kiev isn't real, but the myth was potent for the reason. And these people keep saying the quiet part out loud. They created a superhero legend. So people, when you dive into the quotes, they admit the reason why they did this, so people will think Ukraine had a chance of winning, so they will get arms and money that the progressives voted for. Okay, so do you guys know the new Ukrainian story? The Ghost of Kiev apparently has a son now. That's a joke. That's a joke. So this is the new story. This is the new story. I'm gonna call him because this is obviously made up. They're the son of the Ghost of Kiev here, right? And this is the media repeating this uncritically once again. A 15-year-old boy who flies drones as a hobby helped to prevent Russian soldiers from overrunning Kiev. Andrei Proskasa, I don't know how to say Ukrainian's name that well, has revealed his role in the defense of the capital. Once again, they already painted this narrative that, oh my God, there was this massive Russian offensive that they repelled. Let me tell you guys something. Hopefully I don't. All right, I tell you, I'm not getting out of order. So you guys know the Azov Battalion and many Ukrainians have been surrendering in mass to Russia, losing a ton of territory, and then the media was reporting that as evacuated, right?
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
in response to this massive surrender and in response to Russia taking massive lands, they had another offensive that they pushed, right? And then Russia pulled back from one small territory to reevaluate, and then they immediately pushed forward again and gained territory. Do you guys want to know how the media reported on this? The media, because the Ukraine told the media that the Ukraine said, yo, we lost this territory, but we pushed back. The Russian forces are retreating. So then the media came out and said the Ukrainian forces are forcing Russia to retreat. Guys, I'm dead serious. MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, everyone in the Western media ran with the story that the Russian soldiers were forced to retreat. And that was proven to be false. Russia was like, what the fuck? No, it was just a tactical maneuver, and they immediately took territory over again. But they don't need to correct it. The lie was out there, and they immediately started circulating it. Why do you guys think so many people think the Ukraine is doing well in this war? Because of one small, minor offensive that Russia immediately counteracted. But go ahead, CJ. I know I'm talking.
But you notice when they lie, they'll take a long time to retract it. That's on purpose. Yeah. They want that lie to be disseminated because they know the retraction is not going to be disseminated at the same level as the lie. It's never going to catch up. The retraction is never going to catch up. So they want that out there, and they just kind of fiddle there, and then they'll bring a retraction. But you're saying they haven't retracted this at all?
No, they not at all. Ridiculous. There's so many people that have been repeating this Ukrainian offensive. And I told you, I'm in the weeds more. Like I've been watching a lot of opposition media. So they were like, oh my God, surprising Ukrainian offensive. Guys, ask where they get that reporting from. That reporting was based on Ukrainian propaganda that they put off because of one small gain they got. Because as this person, Nick says, Russia like to move a lot and trick their enemy. Right? And they do this all the time. And that's why they immediately gain that offensive right back. But they reported on this like this was an ongoing, continuous offensive. But anyway, I don't want to hijack the original story, but the reason why I brought this up is because this has been an ongoing thing. The Ghost of Kiev is a funny story that the media reported on and repeated uncritically. But I want you guys to understand that's a small lie. The biggest lie the media have been propagating in this war is whenever the Ukrainian propagandists, because that's the reason why I showed the story in the order that I did. The reason why they tell you guys these lies is so that they can convince people that there's a chance of them winning. Anything to secure funds. So the Ukrainian propaganda, the Azov Battalion, their allies, they will send out false statements about what's going on in the war. Like, oh my God, we did so well. We killed this Russian soldier here, which happens in war. There are casualties, right? Mm-hmm. But then they will take that. Then the media was like, oh my God, the Ukrainians are slaughtering Russians. Even though, as Mike Ritter explained, bro, if you compare the body counts, it's not even close, right? But this is what the media did. That's the biggest lie. They will take whatever the Ukrainian side said and repeat it as fact. So now let me get back to the main story and why this is bullshit. Why this is bullshit, right? So this is for the Metro, and they come out with this long thread of bullshit. So the soldiers found this apparently this story, this kid was like providing intel to the Ukrainian military. So then the Ukrainian military was so impressed by him, they recruited him and they called him the hero of Kiev, the hero of Ukraine. Guys, I can see the movie now. Our goal is to find the exact coordinates and provide the coordinates to the soldiers. So there's a lot of people that push back on this. I want to put my tweet up here because it's the obvious. Like, as soon as you start thinking logically about these stories, you see how they start falling apart. This is how you know the Ghost of Kiev is bullshit. Let's put it like this. Let's think about if this was real. The Ukrainian side is glorifying child soldiers. So isn't it funny how whenever Al-Qaeda, and I condemned all this as well, right? The use of child soldiers. They were like, oh my God, they're so barbaric. They're using child soldiers. Meanwhile, when it's a Western ally, they're like, oh my God, look at this feel-good story of this kid trying to help out his country. So guys, if this story is real, They just doxed said child soldier in the middle of a conflict. So if you was to believe the Western narrative that Russians are monsters and animals who will indiscriminately kill children without a second notice, why the hell will you dox this kid? They put his name up here, his name, a picture. You guys understand Russian intelligence. People that are less intelligent than militaries can find out where you are based on pictures. That's why they tell, I heard women, they tell women, don't put your location, don't post where you're at social media, because there have been stories of famous women, like social media influencers. They will take a picture of where they at, like, yo, I'm back at the club, and then stalkers will find them.
Yeah.
So if random stalkers, nerds can do that, what do you think the Russian military can do with this picture? No, think about it. In their logic, these Russians are monsters that won't hesitate to kill this guy. So back to my point, they just doxed the child soldier. And also, why are we sending billions of dollars to Ukraine if they are relying on children to be soldiers? But Ukraine Twitter is so brain dead, they are cheering this on. Oh my God, child soldier.
Wow. I didn't even know that. I knew about the story, but I didn't know that people are like, I can't believe people are buying this stuff.